Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Yiqing Zhao. And we're going to be talking about your hidden gem. What is your hidden gem? How do you find it? She said, what would it be like to leap into your purpose-driven life filled with inspiration and love? What would it be like to claim your harness and ignite magic power and transformation into your higher self? We're all creators of our own lives, yet we are often limited by no one but ourselves. Yiqing is an actress, a writer, a creative life coach. She comes from a medical background. Her found passion in helping people with their minds and souls. After doing depression experiments on rats, she helps artists and entrepreneurs create vision and tap into their intuition to unlock their potential. And unlocking that potential is what it's really about, isn't it? Unblocking the hidden gem. Everybody's chasing it on the outside, and people don't realize it's within you all the time. Welcome to the show, love.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for
Hello.
having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I don't think people really realize that everything that they're looking for lies within them. And it comes through the universe. It's all around us. In nature is constantly nurturing and igniting us. We're always so busy chasing an illusion, aren't we? That we don't realize that just slow down, take everything in, because that will ignite it within you.
Right. That is so true. And I see this a lot in all kinds of people because I help artists and I also help business people. So I see that a lot.
Mm.
And I used to be that person too. I was just always running and running and running. I thought I was running towards
Yeah.
something, but actually I was running to avoid fear.
Mm, You're not going to
So
get me, fear.
no. So, I was just running, and that was like, I felt that kind of overworking was like running for life. But
Mm,
the truth was, nothing was life threatening. It was
mm.
all an illusion that created in my mind. If I didn't get this done, I would be blah, blah, blah. And the consequence, and then you go down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know what that rabbit hole is like. It's
Oh gosh,
darn
that was,
hard to get out of.
yeah, absolutely.
Really hard to get out of once you're in there, and then you kind of just feel like the soil is climbing in on top of you. And we want to avoid that rabbit hole. We're going to fall on our ass. We're going to have to get back up numerous times, but avoiding that rabbit hole is really, really where we want to go. And then if you have gone into it, how do you get back out of it?
Right.
Because depression was mentioned in your entry there, that it's very easy once you're in that rabbit hole to get very depressed and not have any will to come out of the rabbit hole.
Because it's comfy. Actually, like if you're victimized for a while and you're used to it, and
Mm,
then it's very comfy, and it's not, and I'm not talking about the, sitting on a couch and watching TV kind
yeah.
of comfy. I'm talking about the familiarity of
Hmm.
that sensation, of that feeling. And that is a false sense of comfort that you're
Mm.
used to. So you'd rather stay there instead of pulling yourself out of it.
It always feels like, oh, it's too much effort. Why bother it? I mean, you just only kind of end up back here again anyway. Life sucks. And, if we're going to say that, then that's what's going to be manifested, isn't it? So, the approach needs to change. So does the dialogue.
Exactly. Well, I was just working with a client yesterday and she said exactly that. She said, life sucks. So I just cut her off and I
Mhm.
said, does it? She said, well, yeah, life does suck. Life does suck. And I said, does it? And then she thinks about it. She's like, well, actually, It's just that tiny switch because you
Yes.
can think, you can keep believing that. But then when you actually think about it, she says, well, yeah, I have health insurance. I have a roof over my head. I have
Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
So why are you keep saying that?
Right. Well, what you keep saying and what you keep believing is what is going to keep happening to you.
Yeah,
So, I say you need to paint your canvas on how you want to feel. It's not what I want. I want a house, I want a car, I want this, I want that, I want the $1 million husband and all of that. It's not about what you think you want. It's how you want to feel. I want
exactly.
to feel secure. I want to feel purposeful. I want to feel healthy. I want to feel abundant and able to help others. When you can paint the canvas and how you want to feel, that universal energy can match that and it will open up those doors for you.
And here's the thing, I think I used to be in that place. It took me years of heartbreaks and
Mm,
tears to get to where I am now. But I used to be in that place where I thought if I could get to the other end, meaning
yeah.
if I could make more money, if I could get bigger roles on TV or film, or if I could get this and that, then I would be much better. I would feel much better. I would be in a much better position. So I created that first. Like I
Yeah.
had to get that thing. I had to be on the other side. But here's the thing, if you never arrive meaning how you feel, how you identify yourself. If you never arrive, you will never arrive. Even if
Mm,
you have all those things, it doesn't matter.
yeah. It's not about the destination.
It's not.
It's about the journey. It's like look at yourself as a book of life. Well, you don't want the first page and the last page. It's about the pages in between, all those wonderful
Yeah.
chapters, all those wonderful ventures and self-discoveries and abilities that you
Yeah.
discover of yourself. The end of the book is when you exit this earth. So why are you
Exactly.
rushing to the end? Why aren't you
Exactly.
seizing each day and living each day?
Exactly.
Even the
Yeah.
bad days have a good reason, you know?
Even the even the bad days, they happen for a reason so
Mm.
that you can learn something that you have not learned before.
And it might be
Or
gratitude.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
You're an actress. What kind of roles do you play? And when you are playing them, are you playing them in some sort of image of what you think they should be, or are you bringing yourself to the role as well?
I always bring myself to it. The When I was younger, I think when I first started acting, I might have fallen into the trap of, oh, what do they want?
Yes.
They being the
Mm,
producers, directors, casting directors, what do they want? So that left me entirely powerless
mm,
because I was not myself in the first place and I did
right.
not trust myself.
Mm,
And I thought I could create something that they wanted when I
yeah.
did not even believe in myself in the first place. So
Hmm.
even that came out as some sort of version of me that came out that was looking good,
Hmm.
it didn't feel authentic.
Right.
And it's never about how good I look. It always about how my performance made them feel.
Precisely.
So
Yeah.
if I could not, it's never about and honestly, they did not know what they wanted. They didn't. They were just looking, and then until they are putting together this giant piece of puzzle, until this piece falls into
Mm.
it. So nobody knows.
No,
Then you can only be your best self at that in that given circumstance and just let it go.
we say to everybody, no matter what you are doing in life, doesn't matter what you're doing,
No.
always be yourself. Everyone else is taken. It's you that is the gem. It is you that is the authentic, the abundant one. And you are bringing you to the table and everything. And you can see, I watch a lot of talent shows, and you can hear the people who sing perfectly, technically. And then there's somebody comes along who sings raw, with real passion, with real conviction that the song means something to them. And you can feel, you're being pulled in. Who are we going to vote for? The person that made us feel. So when you are going into a role, it is what is inside of me that I can bring into this role, because that's when the attachment is there. So
Yeah.
why isn't it the same in life? Why are we trying
Yeah.
to play a role that we think everybody else wants from us instead of just playing ourselves?
I think this sense of self, I was like with a client the other day, and he said exactly that. He was searching for himself, but then he also thought, I heard this nagging voice saying I'm not enough
Mm.
or I'm too much. Like it's always either not enough or too much.
Yes, yes.
Like there's no middle ground of I'm
The,
exactly
the
where I
right
need
bowl
to
of
be.
porridge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and he was like, I honestly couldn't tell which voice was my voice and which voice was I didn't get you got it from somewhere else.
Right, yes.
And that's
Society's always, yeah.
society, family,
Mm-hmm,
you know, whoever that is.
mm-hmm,
It if you if you grew up in that kind of environment, because I come from a very highly collective culture. I was born and raised in China, to answer your question before,
mm-hmm.
but everybody thought I come from Wisconsin, which is very which is very strange.
Yes.
Um, um, so I understand that, especially as an artist, that we are pursuing something unconventional. We don't have a 9 to 5 job. We
Mm-hmm,
are doing something that is considered, we're living a life that is considered a vagabond
mm-hmm,
life.
mm-hmm. Go and get a
And
real job. Settle down. You know, have some security. Uh-uh.
exactly.
What
And
is
it's
secure nowadays?
exactly. And especially for me, because I come from a medical background, like I gave
Mm,
up a very promising career to pursue this and that. Just, you know, my dad, he was like, why did you give up your education? Like,
mhm,
why did you spend so many years? And well, I was very lucky to have scholarships. So
mm.
money wise, that was not an issue. But he was like, you spent so many years of your life doing that. Why did you just give it up? But I never thought of it as giving up. I
Mhm.
thought of it as part of the journey that made me who I am.
And who's to say that playing a doctor doesn't help quite considerably because you do know the jargon and everything else? But I don't think anything that we learn in the past, even if we redirect into something else, is a waste of time. You
No,
take you take the knowledge, whether it's the medical knowledge or the practices of being a medical doctor. We always take that knowledge forward with us and apply it to the next adventure. Um, so nothing is a waste. You know, the waste is
no.
if you stop doing anything. But if you're growing, and redirecting, that's okay. You'll take
It,
whatever you learn
yeah.
with you, and whenever it applies, it will be there.
I think it's always working. Whatever that is always working. I think the only thing when we think it's not working is because we have those thoughts telling us it's not working. But
Yes.
when you actually look into it like a child with all the curiosity, just no judgment, just look into the things that are happening, they are always working for you.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
One way or another.
One way
Yeah.
or the other. And
Mm.
again, I think those blinders that are put on of expectations, you must be to be liked, to be worth anything, to get anywhere in life, to have any security, you've got to fit in this nice little box. And I think what we're doing right now is we're obliterating the boxes altogether. Now we can have a structure,
Yeah.
right? We can have a foundation, we can have walls, we can build a structure. We need structure in our lives in order to be able to fulfill or recognize the dream and what it needs for fulfillment. But that is very different from boxing yourself. And quite honestly, that's the rabbit hole, because
Yeah.
now you can't get out, and you know
No.
you feel like you're already in your coffin.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, it's just interesting if you hear someone talking about it, and people talk about it all the time. Oh, it's hard to do, but it's hard to do. Like that is the formula that I've
Yeah.
been hearing all the time. But it's hard to stay positive, but it's hard to. So I would always just ask, is it?
Hmm.
Right? Is it? But when you think about it, your your default mode would to say it's hard
Hmm.
because everybody's been saying it.
Yes.
Your parents have been saying it since you were a kid. It's hard to, you know, to be a working mom and raise 4 kids. It's
Mm.
hard to,
Mm.
so you pick it up and then you think it's
Becomes part
hard.
of your programming.
Exactly.
Exactly. Hmm. Just like
Yeah.
brushing your teeth. It's hard. And everything is hard in the beginning until you learn. When you learn the process, I'm one of these people that jump into something. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know. This is how my whole podcasting started. And my first podcast that I did was live. I pressed all the wrong buttons. You know, I did 13 months live and everything that could go wrong went wrong. Fabulous training ground. I discovered I had more abilities than I thought I had.
Exactly.
And then with the 9 years that has grown, it's just become something that really is totally me and immersed now. But
Yeah.
you allow yourself, don't go into something say, I've got to be perfect. I've got to have it right the first time. No, because the only person you're going to let down there is yourself. Going with a willingness to learn, a willingness to adapt and to adopt and to discover. If you as an actress going in, and they maybe want a Caucasian person, but you go in and you've captured the essence of that character, right? And maybe there's something you haven't quite got yet, but they know in a little while, then that hook will be there. They're going to change their mind on who that character is, right?
And it's also about creating chemistry,
Yes,
like how you relate to other people. It's not, you're not just playing there by yourself. You work with others and they see you playing against other actors and that chemistry there.
yes.
And I think about when you can truly accept yourself and be yourself, that chemistry will just come out. And of course, some people just don't look like a couple, and
Mm.
that's true, and that's okay. You don't have to look. If this time it doesn't work out, next time it will work out, or next the time after next.
We learn. We
We
learn.
learn, and and I think it's very important to celebrate each little win.
Yes.
I was never in that place because I grew up with very critical parents. My dad,
Yeah.
I would get 99 out of 100, and my dad would look at that one missing point,
Yes.
that
That
one missing
that
thing.
is very
Yeah.
much your culture. I was married to a Chinese guy,
Oh, really?
and I have three beautiful half Asian children.
Oh,
But his he it was always about what you're not doing as opposed to celebrating what you are doing.
yeah.
And none of them have gone down the traditional road whatsoever. And it's I wanted a lawyer, I wanted a doctor. Not in our family. We're all free spirited, more entrepreneurial, or more on either the social work or that coaching type side of things, but everybody's doing well. And
Yeah.
that's the importance. And unfortunately, a lot with the Asian culture is tradition, and face. Don't lose face.
Face.
All right.
Yeah.
And it's losing face all the time, and every that was bought up. Give them that face.
I
And
know.
it's like, please, and it's a don't say too much to people. We can't tell them where we live, because it maybe is not the right address. And I go, I'm not playing this game. I'm just not playing it. People
No.
accept us or they don't accept us, and that's it.
Mhm.
But you're up against tradition that's been centuries and centuries old. And I'm born British. Don't wear your dirty linen, again, face, don't let people know what's going on. And we can see it's destroying society, it's destroying people. Why are we apologizing for ourselves all the time? Why do we feel we have to apologize? Are we apologizing for? Somebody
For
else's
yeah.
expectations.
For women especially,
Yeah.
I see this. Well, men, I think men were raised in a way to run away from emotions,
Yes.
while women were raised in a way to feel ashamed of
Yeah.
ourselves. The shame and guilt was always there.
Yes.
Shame and guilt.
For existing.
I know. And that's, yeah, now looking back, I when you were in it, you did not know. You just
That's all
felt
you
something
know.
was not right.
Right. You
Like,
don't know
why?
anything else. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, why am I not feeling right? It's just,
Mm,
it doesn't feel right. Like, whatever I do, it just doesn't feel right. Then, of course, if you're coming from a place of shame and guilt,
mm.
nothing will feel right. Doesn't
No,
matter.
no,
Yeah.
no. And this is where I think the big P word, permission.
Yeah.
And especially kind of my generation. I think your generation is more that, no, no, this doesn't feel right. I'm in search of what does. My
Right.
generation was still very much in the, kind of don't reveal, don't let people know how you feel, suck it up, and to expose it is a weakness. And what we know now is your vulnerability
It's your
is your
strength.
strength. And
Yes.
sharing that vulnerability is a gift, right? And so the permission has changed quite considerably, but it's still going to take a while for people to understand they can come
Yes.
out of that shell. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to fit an elephant in a snail shell. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. And I see this in I speak as someone who was born and raised in China and came here later by myself. I'm the only immigrant of my family, which is the it's yeah, it's
Bravo. Me too. I immigrated here on my own. Yeah.
Oh, really?
But I didn't have the language barrier. So,
Right. I didn't really have the language barrier, but it was the cultural barrier.
yes. Yes.
It was much more than language barrier because again, that was a feeling thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school, of course, I could do presentation in English. I could do this, I could do
Mm-hmm.
that. I was like a straight A student, but it doesn't matter. I just didn't feel right. I just
Yes.
didn't feel a part of this culture. And I didn't know what others were talking about when they were talking about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I couldn't really talk to my family either because they did not know.
No.
And some things just you can't translate humor. You can't, a lot
No.
of the things are
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to just tell them about how I felt. If I felt lonely, right,
Mm.
then my parents had a tendency to just go bananas, or I'm exaggerating, or they just get worried
Yes.
because I'm an only child,
Mm.
which makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's really an interesting journey for me to be not just an immigrant, but also came here, got my master's in public health, and then made this 180-degree switch into arts. And, now being an entrepreneur, I don't have a day job. I make a living with acting and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's bizarre, but also exhilarating.
Exactly. And of course, for them, they're never going to get it. If you won a Nobel Peace Prize tomorrow for your work, it's still, but you're not a doctor. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes, and one has to just accept that.
Yeah.
You're never going to be exactly what they want you to be,
No.
and but you are the one that's living with yourself 24/7. There is no escape. And so you need to be happy with you and who you are and what you're doing. And if you've got a reason to get up every day, to go to do something that you love, that is a service to others, because that's what we're here for. We're here to be of
Yeah,
service to each other. That is
exactly.
exhilarating. That meaningful purpose in life feeds your heart and soul. And your spirit just loves to get into action. And your mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it.
Yeah.
Right? So it is. It doesn't matter what expectations have been put on you. As I said, never to feel the guilt because they will never understand anyway, but to go and follow your own path where you feel this is my light. This is where I belong. This is where I can shine the best.
It's really about feeling where I belong. I
Yes.
think that's the belonging part. It's just so that I think that goes back to what I said about the arriving. The
Yeah.
belonging is the arriving.
Mm.
That is independent from whatever achievement you have in life. I think that's an independent thing, is that no matter what I do, I have to do it from that place of belonging, knowing
Mm.
this is who I am and I'm true to myself. And then
Yeah.
that I know that would be the right place. And no matter what I do, as long as I come from that place, I'll be
Yes.
okay.
But I've actually, a couple of weeks ago, did a couple of shows on belonging to your tribe or belonging to your group, and everybody wants to fit in. They all want a
Yeah.
tribe, but they're trying to fit into something to discover who they are. No, discover who you are. Belong to self first, and
Yes.
then bring yourself, and then find. I say, what instrument are you? Learn to play that instrument, then find the orchestra where you can be in harmony with.
Exactly.
Right? So,
Yes.
but you're not looking to go find people that are going to complete you. come as a whole package, and then you'll find people that are on the same synergy, on the same wavelength as you.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yes.
we, again, I think we're always again encouraged to look at things that, oh, if I do that, it will satisfy me, or it will complete me, or if I belong here, I would, that will do it. Doing good things is definitely going to make you feel good, but you've got to understand why you're doing them. Where's your passion? Where's your calling? Where's your conviction? Because that's where your persistence is going to be.
Yes. Yes. And I think it's very, once you've found that,
Yeah.
once you've started living that way, there's really no way that you can go back because
No.
that old, exactly, it just no longer, it doesn't fit. Like, it's like you get out of the cage and now you're standing in the open air and you look at that cage and there's
Hmm.
no way you can get back in.
Nope. Sorry,
Yeah.
don't fit there anymore. But,
Nope.
this elevator
Yeah.
street, the snail shell don't fit me anymore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we're not meant to go backwards. And, it's less like leave your past in the past. Well, you can leave your troubles in the past. What it is leave the emotions of the past in the past.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
don't forget your past. It's an indicator and a navigator to your present and your future. It's
Yeah.
also the great memories and things that you've achieved along the way. So
Yeah.
it's not about forgetting your past, but it's forgetting leaving the attachment to the emotional pain of the
Yes.
past. That's what we
Yes.
want you to let go of. Remembering what happened to you without the pain is liberation. And
Yes.
it also shows you how far you've come, how strong you are. And it also helps you in anything else that you face in your life. I faced that and I survived and thrived. I know what to do in this circumstance. But if you choose to forget everything, I don't want to talk about it, la, 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 la,
Then you're
you know,
still evading that part of, you're still avoiding, you're still not in peace
no.
with that part of,
And
yeah.
you're probably going to repeat it.
And I think that also, I remember where I was when I was in that place. I was like in this angry
Mm,
phase. I think I was first in the victim phase,
yes.
right? That was where that everything started as a victim. Oh, this happened to me. Oh, you know. And then once you realize it doesn't have to be this way, but then you had no idea how to change
Yeah.
or how to really break free from it, then you get into this angry, like you have all the energy, but the
Hmm.
energy is not channeled into the right place.
Right.
So you're like, oh, I am so mad at my parents. I was in that place where I was just like yelling at my parents over the phone, like, oh, I'm just so mad. And then after that, you just have to really sit down and have a heart to heart with yourself,
Yeah.
asking, where does this lead me? Or how is this anger serving me?
It ain't.
It's just a waste of energy.
Yes.
And that energy is so strong. Like if I could use it to something, to my creativity, actually,
Hmm. Hmm.
I would have written a book. I would have,
Hmm.
well, I actually put it into place. I
Yeah.
wrote and produced 3 plays. I actually have another reading coming up with a theater company based in California.
Lovely.
So yeah, they're doing it next Sunday, and I will be rehearsing with them this weekend.
Wonderful.
So I think that was when I learned that I was having so much anger energy, and that was when I learned to redirect it into my art.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think it Meryl Streep. I think it was Meryl Streep. Somebody did a wonderful speech over Meryl Streep when they were giving her award, and she says she's a thief. She'll watch everybody and then steal that character and put it into one
Yeah,
of her characters. And that's what acting is. There's the core of you must always be authentic. Like we always know it's Meryl Streep, no matter what the makeup or anything
exactly.
else is. But the character that she gets into, right? And they're very, very diverse. Um, she always brings that character to life without losing the core of her, because she does. She steals, she watches people, the mannerisms and this and that, and brings it in. But that's part of that artistry. As you said, with the anger, with the pain, with the disappointment, you just call on that and you can bring it into the role. And that makes you more human, more relatable, so therefore more hireable.
Yes.
So
Yes.
use your emotions. I always say our emotions are an indication of how we feel. Acknowledge it, address it. They're there for a reason, but don't become emotional about your emotions.
Right. I think it's also a thing about emotions and feelings.
Mm.
Emotions sometimes can be unconscious,
Yes.
but feelings are you are consciously experiencing your emotions.
Yes.
So I think that's why, when that's why people tend to, get bottled up because they don't want to feel the feelings.
Yeah.
But what we do is to feel the feelings so that we know they are there. And once we know they are there, then nothing can scare us because you can see them. You can see your
Yeah.
fear. You can see what's causing the anxiety and stress and whatever that is. You can see it. I think that's like whatever you are. For example, if you are afraid of rats or
Hmm.
mouse in life, you step into the New York subway train and you will see those rats running. And then you actually see them and you keep seeing them and you're fine.
Yes.
It's the
They're
same thing
not
with the
after you.
feelings.
They're more
Yeah,
afraid of you. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it brings me to a story of a rat when my brother and I we had a seaside home, and there were these steps that would go down to the sand, and the water was up against the steps. We were kind of chasing the waves, and this rat came out of nowhere and started running into the water. And we thought, oh, it's going to drown. So we would try and chase it out. We'd chase it out, and it would run back in, and we'd chase it out and run back in, and eventually it went in, and that was it. And I thought, that's its destination. It was a real learning thing for me, and I was only a kid, that you can't save people who don't want to be saved,
No.
right? So
Yeah.
there's some people their destiny is in the water, and you can't do anything, because if you're going to try and save someone, they've got to be want to be saved,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that free will, of free will, I ask for your guidance, right? But you
And I
can't
think
pull somebody out of it otherwise.
exactly. And I think that's how I work with my clients. If they come to me, then we would do a consult and I coach them, but not to the point where I offend them. But,
Right.
but I actually do when I start with this coachee relationship, I actually do just would just tell the truth at
Yeah.
certain points that you just have to do that. And
Yeah.
if truth offends, so be it.
Yes.
It's never my intention to offend anyone,
Right.
but I just have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So sometimes then you will see, oh, they get a breakthrough,
Hmm.
but then they would pull away because even that breakthrough, that feeling is so strange,
Yeah.
so unfamiliar, and it's scary. So they pull away. So when they pull away, I would just stop there, leave it completely to you. Because at the end, I can't want it more than you want it for yourself.
Right.
That
Exactly.
just, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the years of my coaching, it was always very frustrating, because I remember saying to someone, Can you define what you're afraid of?" She
Mhm.
goes, "No, I'm just afraid of fear." Then fear has got complete control over your life, and you cannot have a life until you face fear. But she didn't even know what she was afraid of. She was just simply fearful all the time.
I think that sounds like my mom. My mom was like my first coaching client, of course, because
Mm,
we talk all the time. And so I still coach her every once in a while. If I see things coming up and I would just point that out. And
hmm.
my mom is like, I have this little book. I know how much you charge for an hour. I'm writing the numbers down. I'm gonna pay you. I'm like,
She's paying you in love, right?
right.
Yeah. And in acceptance. I mean, good that your mum allows you to do that, because it's very, very hard to help your family. And,
Yes and no.
yeah, I
Yes
mean,
and no. I think with her it's different because she actually saw a therapist and just it didn't work for her.
mhm,
So she was like, "What should I do?" And I said, "Okay, let's do this. Let's try it. I'm gonna be coaching you, and I'm gonna just tell you the hard truth. It doesn't matter. I would not please you. I would not. I
yeah,
would. I'm not your daughter when I'm doing this. I'm just gonna and we know each other so well. Like I
mm,
just know her so well, so I can see that.
yeah,
And the good thing is that I don't live with her. She's still
right.
my family. It's just really easy to dissociate myself from whatever is happening
Mm,
around her, and I can just tell her the truth.
hmm.
And she's now like, no, I don't need therapists anymore. And she,
Mm,
her health has
mm,
improved and everything. She's just like seeing improvements all around. Like it's a well-rounded
mm.
improvement of her life.
Well, again, letting go of the fear, letting go of the anxiety,
Yeah,
it lets go of the depression. It starts opening out to what is possible. What
yeah.
if I could do this? What if I could do that? What if I could see the sun today instead of just the clouds? The whole perception thing starts changing. And I think a huge thing to inject into people is, what are you grateful for? And is the pros and cons list. And you ask people to write down everything that you feel is negative in your life, and get them to do that first. All the way down the list. Now go and write everything you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Right. And for a moment, they just don't know what
They
to
just have
write.
to, exactly,
Right. Until it's
exactly,
did you get up this morning? Did you have food? Is the roof over your head? Are you able to do this? Are you able to do that? Are you persecuted? Are
exactly.
you in jail? And no, no, no. So what are you grateful for? And that looking to be grateful, they suddenly start looking around and seeing what's out there. But they've been so entrenched in the misery, they don't know
They
how to
can't
be
see
grateful for
that.
anything else. No, no.
Exactly. And I have seen this in, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I've
All
seen
right.
this
Oh God, no.
in wealthy
Oh
people.
yeah.
They would just get so stressed out over their dog digging a hole in their yard, which for me is like, for
Oh.
exactly. Oh, they would just go, oh, the dog dug a hole and ate my flowers, and the dog got dirty and brought dirt into the rooms, and I'm like, there are a lot of people who are starving at this moment when you're saying
Yeah.
this. A lot of people are dying. A
Yeah.
lot of people are homeless. And you are so upset about your dog dug a hole and ate your flowers.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean, let's look at all the dogs that are being eaten rather than digging
exactly.
a hole. So yeah, I think it's very easy for, I've interviewed a great deal many people who followed the richest line, top CEO and six figures, and they realized that they were being a slave to the job, a
Yeah,
slave to the image,
but they can't
that
let go.
and it probably took a cosmic 2x4 for them to just completely redirect, and they'll go back to doing something that they loved doing as a child,
Yeah,
and they are more enriched and abundant today because they're not a slave to the riches. They're
exactly.
doing something they love to do, and they're always grateful for the fact of that cosmic 2x4, and they go, just the only thing is that I wish I did it earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah, money is a wonderful tool. It is a fantastic commodity. The moment you make money your dictator in your life, you're poor. You're poor.
I think money makes you more of who you are. If you're a generous person, money
Mm,
makes you more generous. If
yes.
you're stingy, money makes you, it just, uh, mm, it's like
Reflects.
yeah. So it really makes you more. And I don't think, I mean, I heard this a lot saying, I actually heard a salesperson saying that artists are the hardest to sell. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because all I do is to invest in myself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's part of your craft.
Yeah.
Right? It's important to be, in any career that you choose, there is always learning curves. It's not
Yes.
like, well, I know it now, I can rest on my laurels for the rest of my life. No, there's always pivoting to be done. There's extension to be done. There's more to be learned in order to keep up with what the changes are in life. And it's the same with your craft. If you're not honing it, then you're losing it.
Yes.
That
Yes.
goes
That,
for everything in life. So,
yes.
but yes, people will go and buy a new outfit, a new car, or book a holiday. But when it comes into actually investing money in coaching or themselves, oh, well, no, I can't do that. I'll just do it myself. Yeah, well, how has that worked for you?
Exactly. If you could do it by yourself, you would have done it a long time ago.
Yes, and you won't be in the problem that you're in now, right?
Exactly.
So we as a society are always needing someone else to to call us on our BS, to help see us when we don't see ourselves, to nurture, encourage, love us, but also give us that good old kick up the butt now and again. and set people straight. We've done that since the beginning of time. But nowadays we've become so, independent. I don't need help. I don't need this. I don't need that. We all need the village. We all need that village mentality. We all need to be there for one another. And that doesn't mean it's a sign of weakness. That is a sign of strength to say, this is my weak spot. I need help.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, what kind of clients do you work with?
I help artists become their own bosses, and I
Mm,
help business people unlock their creativity and become artists.
that's a good idea. I like that. How do
Thank
you
you.
how do you help artists become their own bosses? Is it like their own managers or just taking control of their own?
Taking control of their own career, because
Mm,
a lot of times I find people, and I say it as an artist myself. I have I have a team, I have agent, I have manager, but I am the CEO of my acting business and my coaching business.
right.
I am the CEO. Like I hire people, yeah,
Mm,
I pay them to do the work, but I am the CEO. A lot of artists don't have the sense of that they are entrepreneurs. Because
right.
nobody
No.
tells you that, and you never learned that from school.
Mm,
So when you actually start to pursue this, you still come into the profession with the employee mindset.
right.
So you're like, I need this job. I need the next job. I need to go from gig to gig to make a living. You're always looking for jobs. You're
Yes.
always, that puts you in a very, like you never feel enough if you
Right.
are in that,
Yeah. You never feel
So
secure.
you never feel secure because you're always looking for the next gig.
Yeah.
And I was there, and it just totally it was exhausting. It was unfulfilling, and at certain point I would just start to doubt my choice of why did I do this in the first place.
Hmm.
I'm not fulfilled. And then it's really just my mindset of who
Hmm.
I am I just chasing after the gig, or I am being a lighthouse knowing that they will come to me.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. I think also in today's day and age, I've interviewed a lot of actors that are working actors, and they're known for their versatility, their adaptability, but they're also not looking for the main limelight. They're reliable. People have seen them in this role and that role and this role and that role. Yeah, yeah, be good for this role. And they get hired based on the work that they've done in the past because they're consistent, right? And that consistency is there. So if people are going into acting that they want to be earning 20 million a movie and be, the next um, Meryl Streep or Brad Pitt or anything. No, they started at the bottom and worked their way up too. But if you're just a working actor, that you are, constantly booked for the next job and the next job and the next job because people like who you are. They like what you portray. They like also the fact that you have taken control over your own career. You're not just
Yeah.
you're not just taking a job for the money and going looking at it afterwards, why did I do that? Michael Caine did that in Dress to Kill when he was a cross-dresser psychiatrist that was murdering people. And he said that one was purely to pay the mortgage. So, yeah, there might be a job or two that you have to do that, right? But
Yeah.
that's just paying your dues. But if you stand in your own core integrity and you say, look, here, I am rooted. My roots are very, very strong. My trunk is very strong. However, my branches are extremely flexible, but they know the core of you and that you're not going to deviate from that core. I think it makes you so much more hireable because they know they've got somebody solid there.
That's one thing. The hireable is one thing, and how I feel, because I always check in with my own feelings. How I feel is I always think about how I feel
Mm,
first,
yeah.
because I have to stay true to myself no matter what. And I think after I figured all this out and after I launched my coaching business, now I can say no to a lot of acting gigs that I
Yeah.
don't see strong representation for Asian women, especially. They would
Yes.
just portray Asian women either as a prostitute or,
Yes.
you get the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So I would just say no, or like a victim. I don't see myself playing those parts, and I won't be a good fit because
You're too
you know,
strong for that. You won't be able to
yes,
portray that. Right.
exactly. So I can just say no to those things
Mm,
knowing that I don't need a paycheck.
right. exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day is that there used to be a restaurant called Applause in New York, and
Hmm.
it was actors worked there, right? So they were in between gigs, and so they would work there waiting for the next show, and then halfway through thing they'd all put down their trays and do a performance for us. It was
Yeah.
great. But they knew their industry, and if somebody got a job, great, off you go. The job will be waiting for you afterwards, and that gave them that kind of sense of security that they could still
Right.
live, and everybody would root for each other, and you kind of need that, don't you? So
Yes.
in other words, what you're saying to people is have a backup plan that can sustain you in between your acting jobs, so that you don't have to take the acting jobs you don't want to do.
I don't really see it as a backup plan.
Right.
I
It's
see
just
it as
another side of you.
something,
Yeah.
yeah, because I got asked this a lot that they would say, "Oh, you're also an actor, like coaching and acting, which is your true passion?"
Hmm.
And I tell them this, and I said, the two thing you might see them as very different thing, but the core is my why, is my
Yeah.
purpose, and my purpose is the same.
Yes.
My purpose is to, when I act, I tell stories and I help people, I elevate them from their daily mundane lives.
Yeah.
And when I coach people, I'm also helping them. It's just in a different way. Like
Right.
it's different things, but the why at the core is the
Yeah.
same.
That. Yeah. That's be true to your core.
Yeah,
To be true to your core, you've got to get to know you at the very core of you.
exactly.
Right? And it's not the illusion of you, not the expectation of you, but the core of you, your inside out. And
Yeah.
once you've got that, it is your baseline, it's your security.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you listen to that core, it won't steer you wrong.
No.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there are many people, the actors I've interviewed, they're also novelists, and I had one yesterday. Have you seen the Geico commercial with whoomp do 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 from the from hip hop from the 90s, the song
Uh-huh.
back again, and it was huge song back at the 90s, and it's one of those songs that you can just easy sing along to, and it's come back. And he said, I'm proud of being a one-hit wonder. I have a song that's 20 years on that still stood the test of time, but it also they signed a very bad contract, and so what he did is when he went and learned everything he needed to know about contracts so that he could renegotiate, right? So he said, learn, constantly learn. And now he's acting and voiceovering and doing this and that because he's willing to learn. And
Yes.
that is important, isn't it? Be willing to learn. It doesn't mean you're a perpetual student, but you are a student of life.
If you find joy in learning and you can constantly create that joy and you repeat that joy and that becomes sustainable efforts, and that sustainable efforts will get you results.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, Willingness to participate in one's life. We've talked about that you can't help somebody if they don't want to be helped. We've all got to at some point face ourselves and go, okay, I just can't stay here anymore. I've got to move forward. And then we have to, in that vulnerability, hand ourselves over to someone like yourself and says, okay, I'm going to pull you out of this pit so that you can stand on your own 2 feet.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you the skills and the tools to stand on your own 2 feet for your next chapter in your journey. But you see so many times, well, I've decided to come out, but now I'm going to fight my coach on it. Right? I'm going to fight all the way. And it's like, why? Why are you fighting?
Right.
Because all you're doing is fighting yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you can make it easier on yourself or
Exactly.
difficult. That choice is yours.
It's some of my clients would just tell me, oh, accepting is so hard. They just say accepting is so hard. But fighting is also hard.
It takes far much more energy to fight and be angry
Exactly.
and be up in arms with someone.
Exactly. And which gets you the result, which
Yeah.
helps you make right, which makes you feel better. If you compare that, you can say, "Oh, this is hard," but then you're doing the right thing.
Hmm.
It's hard either way,
Yes.
right? So they're like, "Yeah, I guess you're right." But then the default is, "Oh, it's hard.
Yeah. Well,
Accepting is hard."
why do we have fear? Because we don't understand.
Yeah.
right? Why do we feel something is hard? Because we don't know how. So when you're willing to face the fear, because I wish to understand what is causing that fear, all right? And I understand that it may be a bit difficult to get that comprehension and to release myself, but I am still willing to face that because that's part of your challenge in life, to face your
Yes.
fear.
Yes.
Yes, it may be hard initially. A baby standing up, learning to walk for the first time is hard. Learning to drive can
Exactly.
be hard. Learning a new language and everything else, acting and everything else can be hard. But once you get the hang of it, right? Once you've mastered it, it's no longer hard. You're no longer afraid of it. But you've got to take those first steps.
Yeah.
That willingness, the willingness to face yourself, be called
Yes.
out. It's not an attack. It's
No.
that observation where we're
Hmm.
helping you to see yourself,
Yeah.
right? It's important. Um, I come from an acting background. My mother was an actress, and I used to always be her other parts when she was learning her lines.
Hmm.
Which was fun. And I did do a little bit of it myself, but I'm dyslexic, so whenever it came to script writing, I was terrible. I'm far better on just ad-libbing. Um,
Hmm.
but I was brought up in that acting world with my mom and my brother's a writer, so we were all kind of part of those arts. And the need to be creative is extremely strong.
Yeah.
And if you have that creativity in you and you haven't yet found your outlet, do not give up on it. Do not sell out on it because it's screaming to come out of you in one way or the other. You've just got to take that discovery to find out what it is.
Yes.
I mean, you in medical school, oh, you're going to be an actress and a coach and you're going to give this all up. You wouldn't have believed that, would you?
But that's again, that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's what stays true to you that matters. Because you live this life for yourself. All
Yes.
those people, they're going to leave you. Your parents will leave you.
Yes.
Your your spouse, your partners, your children. Your children come from you, but they don't belong to
No,
you.
the custodians.
Exactly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So at the end of the day, it's just you and yourself. So that is the most important relationship,
it is.
you and yourself.
It's got to be true. It's got to
It's
be
got to be
honest.
true.
It's got to be nurturing. It's got to be kind. It's got to be loving.
Yeah.
It's not selfish to take the journey in loving yourself because
Yeah.
when you do, you just exude out. The other benefits in acting, the more you've done before you've got to the acting table on your resume, you've been that medical doctor, any experiences, even as a coach, and they look at that and go, okay, she's already had this experience. She knows what to bring to the table. So it's like mums whose kids are no longer needing, for her to be at home. Well, what can I do? I've only been a mother. Well, head cook and bottle washer, chauffeur, tutor, nurse, disciplinarian, sex goddess, you name it, they've been everything.
Yeah.
So that skill is within you. All
Yeah.
you have to do is just change direction and apply it to something that you're passionate about,
Exactly.
which is a lot of fun. So you have an audition to come up. As are you not in anything at the present moment?
Well, I did a couple commercials in the past few months, but things are coming up now, and I'm just getting my new headshots and everything, and we'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Because
have
it
two.
doesn't help the fact that the business has been closed down, especially theater.
I have two shows in the line of two theater projects that was I booked before the pandemic.
Hmm.
So now we're,
Getting back to it.
we're getting back to it later this year. And I also have a short film that I booked. We were supposed to do it last March, but we didn't. So it's
Mm.
also coming back. And then there are more things down the line, but I'm just like, whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
And I always have the final say in terms of what I do or not to do, you know.
Yes, and that's the important thing. It's
Yeah.
okay to say no.
Oh,
Well, they'll
it's
never hire
totally
me again.
okay.
You go, thank you for thinking of me, but I know I cannot honor this role.
Yeah.
They will honor you for that,
For
right? Yeah,
exactly.
because they know that
Yeah.
you can't bring the best to this role,
No.
right? If
Yeah.
you if you don't like horror genre, you're not going to go in there and be the slasher and dicer or the victim
Nope.
of the slasher and dicer, right? It's because
Nope.
it's just not what you can portray. So
Nope.
yes, you have to know your niche, which is important.
Yes.
Um, and Yes, I mean the pandemic shut down theater altogether for a year, and many movies. A lot. I know some did work through it if they had the good budget, but we're slowly opening up and slowly going back. So it sounds to me that you're just going to be piled on top of the other, really busy there for a while.
But then again, it's, I always have a say in terms of what I do and what I not
Mm,
do, right? So busy is fine. Busy is how you look at busy.
mm,
Being busy is what matters.
yeah,
If you get carried away by all those things happening, then of course you will always be busy.
yeah,
Your mind will always be busy.
yes, yes. And it's something to look forward to is and I think this is a big thing like with the pandemic, it closed everything down. It doesn't mean it's forever. For an awful lot of people who is like, I can't go to work, there is no work right now. What can I do? What else
Right.
can this is an opportunity for me to explore something else. And it doesn't mean I have to walk away from whatever it is I love. It just means that there is something else I could be doing that I equally love. And so
Yeah.
that self-discovery, you know, very often it's a gift. You've been given a gift of time to
Mhm.
reflect and to review and to kind of renew your journey.
Yeah.
So I know it's very easy to go, woe is me, but then it's sometimes, well, if you've been given that rejection, that doesn't mean it's a slap in your face. It's just that you weren't right for that role. And that very often that right role for you is coming up next, right?
Yeah, so I would say just stay open and
Mm.
really stay true to yourself, knowing that you are actually the person you want to be. You
Yes.
are that person. So when you live as that person, things will just happen. And if they don't happen at the time you expect it to happen, it's completely fine
Mm.
because your expectation might not be the best thing for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Be willing to discover. I mean,
Yeah,
life every day there's a discovery, isn't there? Every day there's
exactly.
something to
Yeah.
learn, something to lift up your heart, ignite your soul. Something as simple as dogs wagging their tail, kids laughing, trees rustling, you know, uh, people laughing. We can get ignited very easily by the simple things around us, and it can take us out of ourselves and
Hmm.
recenter ourselves. So look
Hmm.
for what that is and immerse yourself in that when you feel out of balance.
Yeah.
So how do people get hold of you, A, for your acting and also for your coaching?
I have a website, www.yiqingzhao.com. Then there's a button for coaching. You just click it, and then you can find me from my website. Yeah.
Great. I bet people do have a problem with pronouncing the name. So
I Yiqing. I put the pronunciation on my website as well.
right, that's good.
So
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. I've many a time I have a name and say I'm not even going to attempt it. I'll just you can submit your name in there because it's like that long, and I know I'm going to say it wrong. And but that's okay, right? Because how many actors have been told, "Oh no, you got to change your name. Nobody's going to remember that." But having a different name, it
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 actually makes you stand out
it
because
does.
then they will remember, oh, the girl whose name we cannot pronounce.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes. This is great. I'm glad that you found your calling. So the acting and sounds like that's going very well, and the coaching. Is it a coaching program? Is it a certain amount of time, or do you take it, client by client?
I do take client by client, but I offer 6 months coaching package to make sure that we get the results.
Hmm.
I used to offer 3 months. Now I don't because 3 months is where they start to see results and then
Yeah.
it's very likely to fall back to the old
Yeah.
place. So for 6 months package, and I would just let them know that you will have resistance at around that time, but I leave it completely up to you, but I would always let them know this is how it works.
Yeah.
So I help artists. Some people coach, some of my clients coach like writing with me
Mm,
too. But then again, everything is the centerpiece is just
mm.
you.
Yeah.
So, even when I do writing coach, I work from that perspective as well. Is how honest can you be with yourself
Right. That goes for the actors as well. And as you say, being their own CEO, the agents and the managers are working for
for
you,
you?
right? And we
Yes.
always think we're working for them. No, no, they're working for you
So
and they need to know who you are.
don't just, get desperate and go, oh, I need to get this person, I need to get that person. Stand your ground, do your work, market your own work,
Yeah.
make connections. They will chase
Yeah.
after you, I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah. Exactly. Be willing to think there is no box and, to do something unusual. Something's coming up. Maybe you haven't had the invite to audition yet. Send them in a little video. Right? And say, I know you haven't invited me yet, but could you consider me? Here I am,
Yeah,
because they like people who take initiative. Don't just sit back and
exactly.
wait for everything to come to you, right?
No. Yeah, just do something, put it out there, and then keep doing. And then just, evaluate whatever you've done with curiosity,
Yes.
not with judgment, but with curiosity.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
see, oh, this is what I did. And this has worked, but this probably did not work. So maybe I should do it differently next
Yeah.
time. So
Exactly.
with that kind of kindness and curiosity, and that
Yes.
will that will go a long way.
It is not a
Yeah.
failure because you tried.
No. Yeah.
It is not a failure because you didn't succeed this time. It just that it was the wrong time or the wrong place with the wrong people.
Yeah.
But it was all the audition was never a waste of time because it's honing your craft,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So
Yes.
please take the word failure out and judgment out and just go, okay, that worked, that didn't work, or next time will work. It's that
Yes.
optimism. You've got to keep that
Yes.
optimism there, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And don't take it personally when they say
No.
no. That's a big one. Don't take it
Yeah.
personally.
No.
It's not no to you, it's just no to you in that role. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you take it personally, you're in the wrong business.
Exactly.
Well, this has been great having you on here, love. Thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing,
so much for having
for
me.
stepping into your own honesty, your own authentic self, and sharing that authenticity with other people, empowering them. It does take guts to, define, here comes my tree of freedom, I call it, the ocean and the water. It pops up in every video, but it's like the water's washing away the old and the wind rustling in the trees there. So it took guts and courage to say, Mum and Dad, I am going in a totally different direction. But you were true to who you are and your own discovery. And that takes a great deal of courage. And I'm glad that now you're sharing that courage with other people. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, folks, remember, it doesn't matter where you start. Your chapter is going to be different in your book of life. Be willing to try something new because you have no idea. And always bring you to the equation because it's you that people want. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.